Okay, good. And let's see, sure. Okay, there you go. All right. Okay. Okay. So, as I said, this is the final chapter of Shrimad Bhagavatam. In this chapter, Suta Goswami is actually doing some very interesting things. He starts by offering his obeisances, and then he talks about all the 18 Puranas in terms of how many verses are there in each one of them. And he moves on to uh, the, the main topic, discussed in Shrimad Bhagavatam. And interestingly, it starts talking about how to give Shrimad Bhagavatam as a gift and the glories, benefits of that gift giving. And then he finishes by describing the glories of hearing and chanting the holy name of the Lord. And okay, so let's get started. I think that's all there is in this chapter. We'll see if there's anything I missed. Anyway, so he starts by offering his obeisances to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whom he calls unlimited. Unlimited in that there is no end to his glories, there's no end to his qualities, and he is beginningless, and of course, is endless. So he's unlimited in that sense. And this Supreme Personality of Godhead is constantly being glorified by Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, all the demigods, and of course, all the devotees. And then, very interestingly, he picks one incarnation of the Lord to offer further obeisances. Can anybody just make a wild guess? Like, I could never have guessed. Just make a wild guess as to who you think he may have picked to offer obeisances to. Just, it doesn't matter. If you're wrong, you're wrong. Just make a wild guess.
Kurma hota?
Hari Bol. Wow. Okay, yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you guessed it, mother, you're very powerful. If you knew it, you're still very powerful.
No, Prabhu, please. Yeah.
But that's amazing. Amazing. Yes. So he glorifies Lord Kurma. As you know, for the past time, the churning of the ocean had been advised by the Lord to the demons and demigods. And when they asked what should we use for the stirring stick, the Lord suggested Mandrachal, which is the Mandar mountain. They tried to bring it from where it is to the ocean, and it was so heavy they couldn't carry it very far, and many of them got crushed under it as they were trying to bring it. So they went back to the Lord, who sent his carrier, Garuda. He just picked it up, like it's nothing, and brought it onto the ocean, put it there. And then they asked for a rope. So the Lord provided Vasuki, the snake, and they wrapped him around the mountain. And one got on one side, one party of the demons, demigods got on the other side, and they started to churn. But as they were churning, they found that the mountain was going under the base of the floor of the ocean. So they went back to the Lord, said, we need help. We can't churn, it's going under and under, more and more under, I mean. And so God said, okay, I just so happens that I'm having an itch on my back. So I'm going to take the form of a tortoise, and I'll get under it. Then my back will support the mountain. You can churn it. Does anybody have any wild idea about how big the back was in terms of miles? Just again, another wild guess. Take a number, doesn't matter. Just like I say, if you're wrong, you're wrong. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's a Kshir Sagar, right? The churning happening Kshir Sagar is a deep mountain.
That is
Very
correct.
deep.
That's correct.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about the width, the area.
Mm.
23,000,
Huh? Sorry?
23,
Say again? Say again, mother?
23,000.
1000.
So 33,000 you said?
Yes.
Okay, so I guess close. So 6,400 miles square. And so that's how big the back was. So they put the mountain there. And as it was being churned, it was scratching the back of the Lord, which made him sleepy actually. It's just going on, he can't sleep, or somebody just it nicely, and he just fall asleep. So that's what happened to the Lord. He fell sleepy. And so in his sleep was breathing, inhaling, exhaling, just like Lord Mahavishnu does to create and annihilate the spiritual world. And but his inhaling and exhaling was causing waves in the ocean. And Suta Goswami prays, very interesting prayer. He prays that we may allow, like we are us people, we may allow the pastimes of Lord Kurma to blow within our heart, just like it's blowing the waves of the ocean. I say, blow within the heart like a favorable breeze. For what reason? To alleviate the itching sensation in our minds. And what is that itching sensation? To have the tendency for mental speculation. So let this this breathing be like a favorable breeze, which will alleviate the itching sensation of our mind to eliminate any tendency for mental speculation. And then said, and also in addition, it may alleviate the itching of the material senses to engage in sense gratification. What a beautiful prayer. And maybe that's why he chose Lord Kurma, that he wanted to have this analogy about Lord's back is being scratched. So let our itch also be, alleviated or moved out, which is the itching of the mind to eliminate any tendency for mental speculation, and the itching of the senses to get away from engaging in the sense gratification. I just thought it was very beautiful and unique prayer that Suta Goswami got into. And then he got into explaining the 18 Puranas, a number of verses in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share a screen, and I'm going to put Pranami Mantra, where is it? Here, again. And in there, I have a chapter here. Okay, so I'm going to ask you, how many verses do you think Brahma Puran has?
25,000?
Okay, all you have to do is read the screen.
Yeah,
Okay, okay.
10,000.
10,000.
Good guess, very good. How did you know, Prabhu?
The first line.
I know. And how many verses does Padma Puran have?
It says 55,000.
55,000. Vishnu Puran?
23,000.
23,000.
Okay. Shrimad Bhagavatam?
24.
Got you. Got you.
18,000.
That was a trick. You guys all failed.
18,000.
So yes. So Shiva Puran has 24,000 and Shrimad Bhagavatam has 18,000. How many does Narad Puran have?
25,000.
25,000. Very good. Markandeya Puran?
9,000.
Yes, it's a short one. Agni Puran?
15,000.
10,400.
10,400. That's right. Bhavishya Puran?
14,500.
500. Very good. Brahma Vaivarta Puran?
18,000.
Wow. Ling Puran?
11,000.
11,000.
Varah Puran?
24,000.
Wow. Skanda Puran?
81,000.
81,000. Wow. That's big.
100.
Yes, 100. Yes. Vaman Puran?
10,000.
10,000.
10,000.
Kurma Puran?
17,000.
Matsya Puran?
14,000.
14,000.
Garuda Puran,
19,000.
$19,000.
Brahmanda Puran.
12,000.
12,000.
Wow, you guys already knew that. I don't know why you're in this class. You already know all this.
Everybody. Read
Everybody
it.
nakal.
So,
Nakal
so,
ke bache pa.
so if you add it all up, it comes to 400,000 verses.
Yeah. 400,000.
So the Puranas, the 18 Puranas combined, 400,000 verses. And who wrote them all?
Yes.
That's there.
Vasudev, yes. So
Yes.
one person wrote 400,000 verses, but he didn't stop there. He didn't stop there because after he finished writing the Puranas, what's the next thing he wrote? Anybody knows?
Mahabharata.
Shrimad
Mahabharata,
Bhagavatam.
yes. So he wrote Mahabharata after that. And how many verses in Mahabharata?
100,000.
100,000. And then somebody else wrote Ramayana. Now,
Valmiki.
Valmiki. But before Valmiki, do you know who the original narrator of Ramayana was?
Tulsidas.
No, original. Tulsidas came after Valmiki, even before Valmiki. Way
Hanuman.
Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva.
First Hanumanji Ramayana.
no, even more before that.
Tulsidas.
Lavan,
No, Tulsidas is 300 years ago. I'm talking thousands, millions years ago.
Ganesha.
Okay, so who's the original personality in the universe?
Brahma.
Krishna.
Yes, Brahma.
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 Brahma is the one who narrated this. And guess this, or rather get this, I'm saying. When the Brahma narrated, Ramayana had 1 billion verses.
Haribol.
1 billion verses to glorify Lord Ram.
Haribol.
Right? So Narad Muni, when he heard that, he said, nobody will understand that. So he summarized it and related it to Valmiki in 25,000 verses.
प्रभु जी हनुमान जी ने कब लिखी थी? हनुमान जी ने
हनुमान जी ने वाल्मीकि से पहले लिखी थी, लेकिन ब्रह्मा के बाद.
ओके ठीक.
Okay, so now 400,000 Puranas, 100,000 Mahabharata, 25,000 Ramayana. So what's the total? Anybody good in math?
525.
525,000, yes. So when you include the Puranas and the Itihasas, what's an Itihas?
That's a
History.
Mahabharata.
Mahabharata and Ramayana.
Yeah.
Yes, Itihas means history. And Mahabharata and Ramayana are Itihas. And the 18 Puranas are Puranas. Then there are Vedas, right? Vedas are known as Shrutis. Puranas are known as Smritis.
Yeah.
And this is Itihas, Ramayana and Mahabharata, right? So what's the difference between Shruti, Smriti, and Itihas?
Sure.
Anybody knows?
Shruti is speaking directly.
Sorry,
Shruti.
Shruti is what?
Speaking directly.
Okay, so
God is
careful.
speaking directly.
Careful. What does Shruti mean? Literal meaning, Shruti.
Hearing
Hearing.
directly.
So
Yes.
hearing directly.
Yeah.
So it's from hearing.
Yes.
Okay, what's Smriti?
Remembering.
Remember.
Remembering. And Itihas is history. What
History.
happened, right? So Vedas are Shruti because they were heard and then heard and heard and heard. Right? Who's the original person who heard the Vedas?
Brahma.
Brahma. Yes, very good. Same thing for the Puranas. And I'll come back to that point. Brahma is the first one to hear that. Puranas also. But Puranas basically mean that you are meditating, you're remembering, you're visualizing, and you're getting visions. And so you write that. So that's a Smriti, that's Puranas. Like Vyasadeva really didn't hear any Puran from anyone. But he heard the Vedas from Narad Muni. Everybody understand? Are you with me? If not, I'll repeat it. Just tell
No,
me.
yes,
Say,
Prabhu. Yeah.
sorry, yes, repeat. You got it.
Yes, we got it. Yeah.
Oh, good. Okay, great. Great. Wonderful. Okay. So, and then, so you got Shruti, Smriti, and Itihas, and you got Vedas, Puranas, and Ramayana, Mahabharata. Okay. So all that is there. You may recall the verse from first canto of Shrimad Bhagavatam, first chapter, first verse. Then Madi Yasyata. There, the second line says, Tene Brahma Hida Ya Adi Kavaya. Right? So Krishna played the flute in the heart of Lord Brahma to give him the knowledge of the Vedas. He did the same thing to give Brahma the knowledge of Shrimad Bhagavatam. Okay, so from Brahma, many personalities like Kumaras, Lord Shiva, Narad Muni, they all got it. They started their own sampradayas. Okay, not Narad Muni, but Kumaras, but they had been narrating Shrimad Bhagavatam for a long time before Vyasadeva wrote it. So we'll talk later. Shrimad Bhagavatam is eternal. It's not something that suddenly appeared from Vyasadeva. Although this time it appeared from Vyasadeva. The one version we see is the one that appeared from Vyasadeva. But Vyasadeva, Shrimad Bhagavatam is not 5,000 years old. Shrimad Bhagavatam is eternal. Okay? Is that point clear? Because that's a very important point.
Krishna Prabhuji, so can I ask a question? So
Of course,
that means
I'm waiting for you. Yes, go ahead.
So all these thing happens in long back, like Krishna Lila, and this, like it's eternally all the Lila is happening. Like all the devotee, whatever explained in the Srimad Bhagavatam, that means, as you said, it is they are describing from long time back. That means it happened all the before also always all this.
Well, so you know that exactly right. That's exactly right, Prabhu. Krishna's Leelas are eternal.
Yeah.
Right? It's just
also
that
devotees, also all the devotees like
they come back, yes.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Sure. Okay. All right. Now, what happens is that we the conditioned souls, are used to experiencing everything that's temporary. Like it gets created, it's maintained for a while, and then gets destroyed. May I ask everyone else to please mute and unmute when you want to speak? There's a lot of background noises coming otherwise. Thank you so much. Okay, so we the conditioned souls are used to experiencing only or rather, you should say everything we experience is temporary. It is created, it is maintained, and then it is destroyed. So it's hard for some of us, or many of us actually, to understand the point that a book can be eternal. Like, what do you mean it's eternal? Like, it must have been created at some point in time. At some point in time, it will get destroyed, like everything else does. But Shrimad Bhagavatam is not something material, because the creation, maintenance, and destruction applies to material things. The spiritual things are not destroyed. So once we understand that Shrimad Bhagavatam is a transcendental literature that's non-different from the Lord, and because the conditioned souls cannot understand, what do you mean something that I can see and touch and feel is eternal? So therefore they cannot understand that. We talk about book Bhagavatam, we talk about person Bhagavatam, which is the same thing. So what are you talking about? This is like nonsense. It's very difficult for many people to understand that a book can be same as the God, and a book can be eternal, so on and so forth. But Suta Goswami is saying, you may or may not understand, but the fact is that it is. It is eternal, it is non-different from Lord Krishna. Okay? So, again, to further explain why that is so, if those of you who have read Shrimad Bhagavatam, or those of you who have attended majority of the classes we are doing, you know that from beginning to the end, what is Shrimad Bhagavatam full of? Anybody? What does Shrimad Bhagavatam contain?
Pastimes of
Talks.
Lord Krishna.
It talks about devotees.
It talks about devotees. What else does it talk about?
Krishna
About the-
Leelas.
Krishna Lila, pastimes of Krishna.
Krishna and his incarnations. What else?
Incarnation. Yes.
What else?
Prayers
He's
made
all
by the-
rasas. He's all rasas and all the glories. It's glories of Krishna.
So we can add as much detail as we want, but basically that's all there is. So Bhagavatam is about Krishna, his incarnations, their pastimes, which means interaction with their devotees, and it's about the devotees. Beyond that, there's nothing else there. I mean, what else can be there, in a book like that? So basically, it's full of narrations that talk about, the transcendental pastimes with the devotees, and it encourages renunciation of material life. Because when we are with Krishna, and we are into the pastimes of Krishna or his incarnations, why would you want anything material? So basically, in a way, Bhagavatam is always encouraging renunciation from material life. Yes, thank you. And essentially is the essence of all Vedanta philosophy. Now I'm going to ask you, what is Vedanta? What does Vedanta mean?
knowledge of Vedas.
Okay, I need a little bit more than that.
conclusion of Vedas.
Conclusion of the Vedas, yes. Yeah, so it requires knowledge, but it's the conclusion of the Vedas. So it says it's the essence of all Vedanta philosophy. What does the word essence mean?
Summary.
It's a little more than that.
Subtotal, or can we say
Flavor,
sum
flavor.
total?
Nectar.
Okay, you're all right. You're all right. Basically, it means what's the main point? What is that says it all?
Vasudeva Paraveda.
No, I'm right. But what I'm saying is, Shrimad Bhagavatam is the essence of all Vedanta. So many verses.
Devotional service.
Yes, Mataji. Yes. So you sum it all up. The essence is that. So actually, it's described even better. Going back to Shrimad Bhagavatam again, first canto, first chapter, text 3, which goes like something like Nigam kalpataror galitam phalam shuk mukhad amrit drav sanjitam pibad bhagavatam rasam alayam muhur aho rasika bhuvi bhavika. Basically says Nigam kalpataror. The Vedas are like, Vedas including the Vedanta, are like desire trees. And if you take the fruit of those desire trees and you wait for them to become ripe, when they have the real juice in them, and then a parrot like Suta Goswami tastes it, then it becomes even more sweet. So Shrimad Bhagavatam is that ripened fruit of the desired trees of the Vedas, which has been tasted by Shukdev Goswami and therefore has become even more sweet. And that is Shrimad Bhagavatam. So is it making any sense?
Yes, Prabhu. Yeah.
All right.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
I have two questions.
Go ahead, please.
We said Shrimad Bhagavatam is eternal.
Yes.
Is it true, or like can we assume all the Puranas and Itihasas are also eternal, equally eternal, like compared to Shrimad Bhagavatam? Other question is, out of like 18 Puranas, right? Like how like what is important in the sense, like there are a lot of Puranas, right? Like yeah, what is important? Which one is important? Like, are all same? Like,
Yes, I
I
understand.
hope you understood the question.
Absolutely. That's an excellent question. I was going to cover it anyway, Prabhu, but I'm going to answer your question, then we'll get some details in a minute. So the answer is that Shrimad Bhagavatam is considered the most important. So there's actually a verse that I will talk about later, but I just want to answer your question in short right now. So it's the most important comparison to the Vedas and the other 17 Puranas. And as a matter of fact, the Shrimad Bhagavatam was written by Vyasadeva because he was not satisfied after having written 17. He said, there's something missing, there's something lacking. I'm not feeling satisfied. I don't feel peace of mind. What's missing? So his guru came and told him that you have not written about pure devotional service to Lord Krishna. So Shrimad Bhagavatam is about that, and hence is superior to that. And again, we'll give you more detail in a few minutes. So that's the second question I think you had. The first question was, are all the other Puranas eternal as well? And I'll be honest with you, I don't know the real answer, but my guess is that they're not. But I want to emphasize that's just my guess, because Shrimad Bhagavatam did not say that all the Puranas are eternal. So we can check it later on, but my initial guess is they're not. I could be wrong though.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Sure. Any other question?
Yeah, Prabhuji, since we are talking about, what are Vyasadeva compiled or written. So again, the Upanishad is also written by Vyasadeva.
So Upanishad are basically parts of Vedas.
Okay.
So 4 Vedas, 108 Upanishads, but they are all part of Vedas. So then they basically, I don't want to say the word integral, but they are part of the Vedas. So yes, in that sense, they were written by Vyasadeva also.
Yes. Okay, thank you.
Sure. Anyone else?
Prabhuji, is Sahitya still different?
Sahitya?
Yeah. What is
Sahitya
that?
usually is used for material literature. So your novels, your stories, your other philosophies, things like that. And then there's samhitas. So like you have Manu Samhita.
Yeah, I was saying Samhitas, not Sahitya. Sorry, I used the wrong words. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so samhitas, which are basically, how do you say it? Either rules and regulations or compilation of some prayers or some points. So 2 examples I can think of is Brahma Samhita and Manu Samhita. Manu Samhita is basically a set of rules. Brahma Samhita is some descriptions followed by prayers. Okay. Anyone else? Sure. Okay, all right. So then I'll keep going. So again, the goal of Shrimad Bhagavatam, maybe I'll ask you, what is the goal of reading Shrimad Bhagavatam?
To develop the devotional service with Krishna.
Yes.
To know about Krishna, more and more about Krishna.
Yes, very good. Yes, exactly right. That and that's why, as I was saying before, Narada Muni was not fully satisfied having written 17 Puranas. And so his spiritual master Narada Muni came and told him what was missing from his life. So then he wrote Shrimad Bhagavatam. And then he was a happy, happy man. Okay. So, and devotional service leading to love of Krishna.
Love of Krishna.
And that is the goal of reading, studying, hearing about Shrimad Bhagavatam. Now, talking about loving Krishna, I think we will all agree that that Lord Krishna is the most lovable, supremely lovable person. Why? Okay, I'm going to ask you, why is Krishna so lovable? I'm sorry?
Because he loves everyone.
For some reason, I can't understand what you're saying.
Because he loves everyone.
Oh, because, okay, I see. So it's a reciprocation. Okay, good. What else?
Prabhuji,
Suhridam
by the
sarva bhutanam.
I'm sorry?
Suhridam sarva bhutanam.
Yes, yes. Okay. Yeah, that was the point Prabhu was making. Okay, what else?
He's
Because
all
you know-
attractive.
Sorry.
He's all attractive, Prabhuji. That's it.
Yes. So his attraction comes from what?
उनकी लीलाएं बहुत
Right.
मधुर है.
Okay, so Leela, yes. What else?
Because he's so
Right.
beautiful.
Okay, yes.
beautiful by glory. He is
Sorry.
so
His
glorious.
power, he is whole and soul.
Okay,
he
yes.
is our real father.
Okay, yes. He's our real father. Yes.
He's Satchit Anandamay.
Okay, so why does it make him lovable?
Because Prabhuji, if we want the way we want him, we find him in that way. Like if I say, he is my father, okay, he is my son, he is my sakha, or whatever way
Yes,
I
yes,
want to
yes.
see him,
Got it.
he
Yes.
will be, like I will realize that he is in that form.
Yes. Yes.
That is
Very
the
good.
form.
Prabhuji, is it due to the Venu Madhuri, Rupa Madhuri and all?
Yes, well, definitely. So she's talking about the Madhurya. Somebody else had mentioned the same thing.
All
You
time.
have the Rupa Madhurya, you have Venu Madhurya, you have
Yes.
Lila Madhurya, and you have the Prem Madhurya.
Yep.
So the sweetness. Actually, to think about this, everything about Krishna is sweet,
Yep.
right? Who has heard the song which says Adharam Madhuram?
Yes.
So much.
कैसा लगा?
बहुत बढ़िया.
Very nice.
बहुत बढ़िया मतलब
बहुत sweet.
So yeah, so everything about Krishna is sweet.
Yeah.
Now, look at it from a different point of view. Somebody said in answer to this question that he's all attractive. So let's talk about that for a second. If somebody is very rich, he becomes attracted to many people just from his wealth, right? So Krishna is the richest. If somebody is a big scholar, very knowledgeable, knows everything, he becomes attracted to some people.
Krishna is everything.
Krishna is most knowledgeable. If somebody is very strong, he becomes attracted to some people. Krishna is the strongest, right? If somebody is famous, people become attracted to him. Krishna is most famous. If somebody's got everything but still very renounced, oh, thank you, Sonam, very renounced, then he also becomes very attractive. So imagine somebody who has all six of them.
Yep.
Most attractive, most famous, most intelligent, most knowledgeable, right? Strongest, most renounced, most famous. Then how will it not be attractive? So not only he's sweet, he becomes very attractive for all these other transcendental. Plus your point about he loves us. So naturally we love somebody who loves us. It's just natural. So Krishna is very supremely lovable. Supremely lovable. There's no question about that. And the other thing about Krishna is that he's God, right? Anybody, any doubts? Anybody who doesn't feel Krishna is God?
Zero doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt, right? And Krishna is very sweet. Anybody has any doubt about that?
No.
No, but here's the thing. Somebody who's got both sweetness and godhood, his sweetness trumps his godhood. Think about this. His sweetness trumps his godhood. What does that mean? It means that when it comes time to choose between sweetness, being sweet, or being God, he and his devotees both prefer sweetness. Right? Let's take an example. Let's take an example. Krishna would rather be chastised by Radharani, by the gopis, by his own mother, than be killing a demon. Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is scared of his mother, simply out of sweetness, the Prem Madhuri. His devotees act the same way. For example, does anybody doubt that King Dashrath actually loved Ram more than his own life? Does anybody doubt that? Say yes.
No.
No. Okay. All right. So
No doubt.
No.
but when time came to decide that Lord Ram has to go to the
Exile.
exile, to the forest, just so he can keep his word and not let him go and break his word. What did he choose?
Keep his word.
He chose his words.
Keep the
I have
words.
to keep my promise. Even if I die, but I have to keep my promise. Do you think Nand Maharaj would have done that? Yashoda would have done that. They would have said, so let me go to hell. Let me go to hell. I'm not going to keep my word, but I'm not separating from Krishna. And that's the difference. That God, who's Supreme Personality of Godhead, he dances like crazy, so the gopis will give him a bowl of buttermilk or butter. Right? That's the sweetness we're talking about. So his sweetness always trumps his godness. And that's a unique quality to Krishna. There's very little sweetness in Lord Nrsimhadev, very little Kurmadev, Ajit, even Lord Ram, very little. But Krishna is full of sweetness. Okay? So Bhagavatam therefore becomes so sweet. It's all about him. Now, we said that one of the 6 opulences of Krishna is that he's the most beautiful, unlimited beauty. And this material world is a very dim reflection of his beauty. Why? Because it's covered by a cloud whose technical name is, anybody knows?
Maya.
No. His technical word for what is covering the material world.
Brahman.
Mahatattva.
Mahatattva. Yes, that's correct. Mahatattva is covering the Brahman effulgence for the area which becomes material world. Right? So it's a dim reflection. It's like sun rays come out of the clouds, but it's not the same strength. So that's the material world. Right? So then Suta Goswami adds, he says, Shrimad Bhagavatam does not compromise when it comes to declaring the glories of Lord Krishna's expansions and his devotees. Like persistently, without compromise, without any hesitation, that's all Shrimad Bhagavatam is. Glorification of Krishna, his incarnations, and his devotees. Therefore, Suta Goswami says, because dealing with the Supreme, Shrimad Bhagavatam is the supreme spiritual literature. And it awards the full taste of nectar of love for Krishna when we are in full Krishna consciousness, just from studying Shrimad Bhagavatam. So I'm going to pause. Is this point clear?
Yep.
Because Shrimad Bhagavatam is persistently, continuously, without hesitation, without compromise, declaring the glories of the Lord's incarnations who are non-different from Lord and Lord's devotees. It becomes a supreme spiritual literature, which awards the nectar of love of Krishna to all of us who become fully Krishna conscious. And that's the bottom line. And then just to continue the glorification of Shrimad Bhagavatam, he talks about Bhadra campaign. Well, he doesn't talk about Bhadra campaign, but we should be familiar with Bhadra campaign. what is Bhadra campaign? Anybody knows? Think.
On Bhadra Purnima, the donation of Shrimad Bhagavatam.
That's right. That's right. So we have this is the ISKCON thing. It's actually Vaisheshika Prabhu's thing. It's called a Bhadra campaign, where we distribute in the month of Bhadra the Shrimad Bhagavatam to the public. And does anybody know how many we distributed in the world this Bhadra campaign, last Bhadra campaign?
Something 4 lakhs something.
Oh, now you got me confused. I was thinking
4,000. I am not sure.
no,
The figure is
25,000 is what I remember, but maybe it was more. But anyway, there were a lot of Bhagavatam that that got distributed. I'll go back and check again, but it's a very large number just in that 1 month. Anyway, so there's a verse in Shrimad Bhagavatam, actually text 13 to be very specific. And basically it says, I don't remember the verse, but it says, if on the moon, the full moon, Purnima, which is of the month of Bhadra, one places Shrimad Bhagavatam on a golden throne and gives it as a gift, that person will attain supreme transcendental destination. In other words, you give somebody a gift of Shrimad Bhagavatam on a golden throne on the Purnima of Bhadra month, you go back to Godhead just from doing that. That's how glorious Shrimad Bhagavatam is. And he doesn't stop, he keeps going. He says, Shrimad Bhagavatam is like an ocean of nectar. It's a supreme literature. I know I'm repeating myself, but supreme literature. And if we can faithfully hear it, or recite it, or distribute it, then we can make this whole world pure. Whole world pure. And then he says, this is an answer to what Nandakumar Prabhu had asked before. He says, all the other, may I please ask everyone to mute? All other literature, they fade into inferior minor status. Compare Shrimad Bhagavatam, everything else has a minor status and is inferior. So basically what he's saying is that all of the Puranas, all of the 17 Puranas and the Itihasas and other literatures, they dim in comparison to Shrimad Bhagavatam. And to support his point, he gives a wonderful verse. Actually, wonderful verse. In the verse, some wonderful analogies. It's a very famous verse. I'm sure you've heard this before. He says, Nimna Ganam Yatha Ganga, Devanam Achito Yatha, Vaishnavanam Yatha Shambhu, Puranam Idam Tatha. So basically saying, Nimna Ganam is something that's flowing towards the ocean, which means all the rivers. All the rivers. So just like Ganga is superior or greatest among all the rivers. And then Devanam. Devanam basically means demigods, but also means any deity. So Lord Achyuta is Lord Vishnu. Devanam Achyuta, just like Lord Achyuta, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is supreme among all kinds of deities. Vaishnavanam Yatha Shambhu. Just like Lord Shambhu, which is Lord Shiva, is superior to all the other Vaishnavas. He's the supreme Vaishnava, greatest Vaishnava. Just like those three examples, Shrimad Bhagavatam is the greatest of all Puranas. So that directly answers the question that Nandakumar Prabhu had asked. Shrimad Bhagavatam is the greatest of all Puranas. If you read Shrimad Bhagavatam, you don't need to read any other Puran, any other Vedas, any other literature for that matter. This is enough by itself, self-sufficient. So now this becomes a point of contention for many people in the world. And I mean devotees, because the question comes, so do we worship Lord Shiva or do we not worship Lord Shiva? You know, what are the rules? And do we celebrate Shivratri? Do we not celebrate Shivratri? Do we go to Shiva temple or do we not go to Shiva temple? So a lot of these questions keep coming up. So I'm just going to take a few minutes to address that because I think it's important. There should be no misunderstanding about Lord Shiva. So first of all, who is Lord Shiva? Brahma Samhita really answers that question very nicely in, I think it's text 45. Kshiram jathadadi vikar vishesh yogat sanjayate nahi tata pratigasta hetu. Yata Shambhu. Oh my God, I always get stuck in this third line. Anyway, so basically says just like when you mix alkaline with milk, it becomes yogurt. Yogurt has all the same qualities as milk, but yogurt can never become milk. You can turn milk into yogurt, but you cannot turn back yogurt into milk. The best you can do is lassi, which is not the same as milk. However, for specific reasons, yatha shambhu, so yeah, shambhutam yatha sampayat karyat govindam adi purusham tamam vadami. So for special reasons, for special purposes, Lord Shiva appears. But the relative position is that Lord Shiva is above Jiva Tattvas, the Jivas, this is us, but below Vishnu Tattva, Lord Vishnu. So he's in between. So you have Lord Vishnu, you have Lord Shiva, you have the Jivas. And Brahma is a Jiva, by the way. So Shiva Tattva is higher than Jiva Tattva, but lower than Vishnu Tattva. So the position of Lord Shiva is that is the greatest among all devotees, which means that when we worship Lord Shiva, our mood is not that he's Supreme Personality of Godhead. He can never be Supreme Personality of Godhead. But our mood is he's the greatest of the devotees of Lord Vishnu, or Lord Krishna, or Lord Ram, whatever name you want to use. And therefore we worship him to say, my dear Lord Shiva, you are entitled, you are empowered to grant me devotion to Lord Krishna. So please show me the way. Please help me become a devotee of Lord Krishna. No other demigod other than Brahma can do that. Only Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva are the demigods who can do this. Nobody else can. Yeah, Vaishnavanam Jatha Shambhu, which is the second line of this verse I quoted. So we worship Lord Shiva as the greatest among the Vaishnavas. So Lord Chaitanya visited, when he was in South India, visited many Shiva temples. And His Holiness Gopal Krishna Maharaj is, I think yesterday he was in Ujjain. And he went to Mahakaleshwar temple, which is Lord Shiva's temple. And he was offering the water, milk, etc. And he was offering his respects. So we respect Lord Shiva, greatest of the devotees. We worship him to help us become devotees. But we don't worship him as the Lord, Supreme Lord.
And Guru Maharaj goes always in Chasikos Yatra to Gopeshwar.
Yes, well, actually Gopeshwar, I'm glad you mentioned that. If you don't visit Gopeshwar temple when you go to Vrindavan, it is said that your trip is not really successful. So Gopeshwar is actually acting as a Dwarpal, and we should get his permission. So I mean, there are many personalities we should get permission from. Gopeshwar is one. Radharani, Vrinda Devi, Yamuna Devi, the dust of Vrindavan. These are the personalities that we should seek permission from before going to Vrindavan, before starting our trip to Vrindavan. So again, very important personality, Lord Shiva. Very respectable.
In one form or the other, Lord Shiva is guarding all the dhams.
That's also true. Yes. Yes. The Chakaleshwar, Nandeshwar, and so Gopeshwar, Nandeshwar, Chakaleshwar, and
Kapaleshwar.
Sorry?
Kapaleshwar. Kapaleshwar.
Yeah, I've heard that name, but I don't know if he's Dwarpa. Maybe he is.
There are four temples.
Yeah.
Shivji.
Okay.
Pateshwar.
Then he's the fourth one.
Chakareshwar, Asheshwar, Nandieshwar, Kameshwar.
Anyway, there's many. But what I'm
Yeah.
saying is that the four are main ones. And
Four.
Gopeshwar, Chakleshwar, and Nandeshwar are three of the four among them. Okay. All right. So, and then he goes on to, so basically he's again making the point that Shrimad Bhagavatam is the topmost among all the Puranas, all the literature for that matter. And he gives another example. It's just like Kashi, Banaras is unexcelled among all the holy places. Shrimad Bhagavatam is supreme among all the Puranas. Okay. And then finally, not finally, final point he makes. And again, I can't remember this verse, so I'm going to share the screen. And I put it on the Pranami mantra thing. So just below this. There you go. Does anybody care to read the verse or just the translation?
It's
We
not on the
cannot see,
screen.
Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, we can see your screen.
Present the
Oh,
screen.
you can't see it?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on. I thought I shared it. Hold on. There you go. Can you see it now? So here's the verse. If you can't read it, just read the translation. I tried to memorize it, but I couldn't.
Can I read it, Prabhu? Then
Of course
I
you
try.
can. Yeah, please go ahead.
Shrimad Bhagavatam Puranam Amalam Yad Vaishnavanam Priyam Yasmin Paramaham Mahamsyam Ekam Amalam Jnanam Param Jyate Tatra Jnana Viraga Bhakti Sahitam Naksharamyam Avishkritam Tat Shanavan Supathan Vicharana Parobhaktya Vimuchyen Nara.
Thank you. Very nice. Who would like to do the translation?
I can read, Prabhuji.
Go ahead, Prabhu.
Yeah, Srimad Bhagavatam is the spotless Purana. It is most dear to Vaishnavas because it describes the pure and supreme knowledge of the Paramhamsas. This Bhagavatam reveals the means for becoming free from all material world, together with the process of transcendental knowledge, renunciation, and devotion. Anyone who seriously tries to understand Srimad Bhagavatam, who properly hears and chants it with a devotion, becomes completely liberated.
I think it's very powerful. So first point is spotless. What does spotless mean?
It doesn't lack anything.
Huh?
It doesn't lack anything.
Without any doubt.
Without
Any doubt, without any defect, without any faults, is purest. And also it means there's nothing missing. It's complete. It's a spotless Purana, implying that others may not be. And actually, I don't know if you know, there out of the 18, 6 Puranas are considered in mode of goodness, 6 in mode of passion, and 6 in mode of ignorance. So that right away tells you that there's a hierarchy anyway. But of all the 18, Shrimad Bhagavatam is the topmost and spotless Purana. And that is why all the Vaishnavas, all the pure devotees like Paramhansas, they love it because it describes the activities and the knowledge and the understanding of the pure devotees. It also tells us what does it mean to become free from material world. Tells us about what is the process for gaining transcendental knowledge about Krishna and devotional service, about renunciation, and so on. And then the bottom line is, anyone who seriously tries to understand Shrimad Bhagavatam, who properly hears and chants it with devotion, becomes completely liberated, means the door to the Golok Vrindavan Dham are opened to that person. That's how powerful it is. But the key point is properly hears and chants it with devotion. It can't be, oh yeah, lecture is going on, let me continue with my other work, let me cook and let me clean and let me take care of my baby and let me do my office work and I'll just keep hearing. That is not what it's talking about. It's talking about, hearing and chanting it with devotion. And we know the story of Dhundhukari and Gokarn. Right? When Dhundhukari was listening to the narration of Shrimad Bhagavatam by Gokarn, he became liberated. But all the villagers who were also listening at the same time were not. So they asked, what was the difference? They explained that there's a proper way to listen to Shrimad Bhagavatam, and you guys were not doing that. So they said, okay, let's try one more time. So they did, and this time they heard properly. They were all liberated. So that's how powerful Shrimad Bhagavatam is, and that's how seriously we should take. I think so many of you have stayed with this whole more than a year of going to Shrimad Bhagavatam. I think you're at a point where you can be very serious about this, and with full devotion, you can read it one more time. And if you do that, I think that will be the end of material world for you. So let's try and do that. Let's try and do that. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing. Any questions before I go to the last verse of Shrimad Bhagavatam?
Yes, Prabhu. I just, you said the Purana 6 are in goodness and passion and then ignorance, right? So
Yes.
Shiv Puran comes under Tamogun. Prabhuji, can you explain why?
Because it's not about Lord Shiva being Tamogun. It's about the devotees, a majority of the devotees of Lord Shiva being Tamogun. So you know who the regular devotees of Lord Shiva are. Those who are always intoxicated with either liquor or with marijuana, ganja, and all those kind of things, who really have many demoniac activities they get involved in. And Lord Shiva, out of his sheer mercy, takes mercy upon them and makes them his associates, and thus gives them a chance to become devotees of Krishna. So that's why it is a mode of ignorance. It doesn't have anything to do with, or it doesn't imply that Lord Shiva is a mode of ignorance. He's in charge of, but he's himself not. He's a pure devotee. How can he be a mode of ignorance?
Prabhuji, I have one question, Prabhuji. Coming back to the Lord Shiva, because I know one of my relatives is a Shiva devotee and now Bhagavad Gita. So he always asks, am I offending Lord Shiva by chanting the name of Krishna? How to answer this?
That answer is very simple. No, sir, you are not offending. You are actually pleasing. Lord Shiva is like a servant is more pleased when somebody praises his master. I'm talking about true servants than himself. So similarly, Lord Shiva and all the demigods for that matter, and all the devotees for that matter, become more pleased when you serve Lord Krishna. Lord Shiva has given mantras to get to Krishna to the Prachetas. He's the one who gave them the mantras. He's constantly teaching Mother Parvati the glories of Shrimad Bhagavatam and Lord Krishna, and so on and so forth. So he is actually very pleased when we serve Krishna. And this verse that we just read says that not only his tapas devotees, but there's a lot of pleasure they feel when they hear their master Krishna being glorified. So you can tell him that he'll be more pleased when you glorify Krishna than he will be when you glorify him. And he will be offended if you call him the Supreme Personality of Godhead above Krishna, whether they know it or not. So you can tell him that.
So another question comes, Prabhuji, because some families, this Shiva is a Kula Daivat, that question comes typically when you are preaching in India, Kula Daivat, right? And if Shiva happens to be, so again, the same answer?
Same answer, exactly right.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, Prabhuji.
Okay. Any other questions? No? Okay, all right. So let's go to the last verse. Excuse me. Of Shrimad Bhagavatam. This goes like this. Nam Sankirta Namayasya Sarva Papa Prashanam Pranamo Dukha Shabanasya Tam Namani Harim Param. What does it mean? Suta Goswami is offering his obeisances to the Lord. And he's saying, my dear Lord, the congregational chanting of your holy name destroys all sinful reactions. Sarva Papanasham destroys all sinful reactions. And simply pranamo dukkhaman, simply offering your obeisances, relieves all material suffering. So what is going on here? Now, after telling all this in 12 cantos, Suta Goswami is saying the congregation chanting of the holy name of the Lord is the topmost activity. It's the topmost activity. It not only gets rid of all the material suffering, not only gets rid of all the sinful reactions, it also gives us the love of Krishna. And that's the bottom line. So now, let's go back to Bhagavad Gita. Where did Bhagavad Gita end? Bhagavad Gita ends when, actually 2 verses, 1865, Krishna says, Man mana bhav madbhakto madhyaji vam namaskar. Right? Constantly think of me, become my devotee, offer me obeisances, worship me. With that mood, what do you do? 1866, Sarvdharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam. Just give up all other varieties of religion, duties, etc., etc. Just surrender to me. It was exemplified by the gopis. They gave up all sorts of all of duties and obligations, social obligations, familial obligations, everything. Just surrender to Krishna. Shrimad Bhagavatam, so basically, Krishna said, become my pure devotee. Surrender to me, constantly think of me, worship me, offer me obeisances. And that's where Shrimad Bhagavatam starts. It starts with the characteristics, qualities of devotional service and devotees. That's your first canto. And then it constantly talks about the glorification of the Lord and his incarnations. Culminating in 10th canto with all pure, raw devotional service. Now it's ending in this last verse of Shrimad Bhagavatam, glorifying the holy name of the Lord. And guess where Chaitanya Charitamrita starts? It starts with the glorification of the holy name of the Lord and the incarnation of Krishna, who came to give that holy name to everyone, fit or unfit, deserving or undeserving. So here's the sequence for all of us. And that's what Prabhupada said. In high school, you read Gita. Undergraduate, you read Bhagavatam. Postgraduate, you read Chaitanya Charitamrita. And that's the sequence to actually read if you want to do this properly. So with that, we come to the end of Shrimad Bhagavatam. I'm going to unpin myself and remove pin. And give you an opportunity to ask any more questions. And I would like to also, before we finish today, have an opportunity to, from the bottom of my heart, thank you all for staying with me for more than a year. It's not easy, I'm sure, for you. It takes a lot of commitment. You've shown that, and I'd forever be grateful to you. But anyway, before we get to that, please ask any questions you may have before we finish this session. Yeah, Sonam, go ahead. I see your hand.
Prabhuji, it's a question as well as a request. That can we start Nectar of Devotion or anything that you would like us to hear from you, since we are ending?
Yeah, we can talk about that. Let's finish any other questions we have about Shrimad Bhagavatam.
Okay, and lastly, I just want to apologize because you have been so committed, and personally, I could not be, so committed. I mean, joining in and not putting the video on, which I am doing today also, for any reason. But I'm very sorry for that, and I am so grateful that you have been tolerating.
No, don't worry about it. There's a difference between a retired person and a, not freshly, but like recently married person. Different obligations. You have a full-time job and everything else. I don't. So totally different scenario. So don't worry about that. I understand.
Yeah,
Thank you,
Prabhuji. This is we are very grateful for 1 year. This was really a wonderful journey. You look at that. It's not that you tolerated. I think we relish, all of us, individually and personally, I believe. Otherwise, where could I learn? So 1 year complete, like we are hearing the glories of Bhagavatam. At least we know where to look what and what it contains. Entire picture. You took so much of the efforts to go where details are required. Prabhuji, we are all grateful. At least I'm grateful.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
And Prabhuji, the best part is that you've uploaded all the classes on YouTube so that whosoever has missed can just go back. And otherwise also I will definitely go back and listen to those whenever I have time. Thank you for that.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your encouragement.
Prabhuji, you have, as a Shiksha Guru, you have taught us a lot of knowledge. You have given us a lot of knowledge. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you, Prabhuji. I appreciate your comments. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Prabhuji, so much. And I hope you start something else. So we keep on coming and listening from you.
Thank you, Mataji. I appreciate your blessings. Thank you so much.
I am very thankful to you for myself and on behalf of my wife for narrating the Bhagavatam so nicely, and we have been enjoying so much throughout from the beginning to the end.
Thank you.
Really very nice.
Thank
so
you.
We are very grateful to you, Prabhuji.
Thank you so much. You're a good friend. Thank you.
Prabhuji, I don't know, I don't have again, enough words, but I must say again, we want to give you work. I know you have worked so much, but we again want to hear from you. So you have more work, Prabhu.
Oh, I love it. Thank you.
That's what I wanted to say also, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mataji.
So nice of you. So thankful. So much thankful to you. So what we are going to start next, Prabhuji? Next Thursday, I mean. Prabhuji, we cannot miss the class now, no?
Thank you, Mataji. I know.
And I know it is very difficult for you, but what to do, Prabhuji? We are getting addiction to that.
Thank you, Mataji. I want everybody to know Mataji is not feeling well today, but she's here. That's her level of interest in Shrimad Bhagavatam. So Mataji, you're inspiring me. And I really appreciate that. So again, and I'm not trying to be artificially humble. I'm not trying to say to be a good speaker or anything like that. But I honestly feel great amount of gratitude for you giving me an opportunity to serve you, because it's not everybody's fortune to be in a position to serve so many devotees at the same time. I'm grateful to you. I'm grateful to Lord Krishna. I'm grateful to my Guru Maharaj for this opportunity. And I honestly, truly, from the bottom of my heart, appreciate this opportunity to serve you. So, I mean, of course, I'm more than happy to continue. As long as you're willing to tolerate me, I'm happy to
Oh,
tolerate
Prabhuji. Oh, Prabhuji. What we really worship you.
Oh, please don't say
Seriously.
that. No, no, no.
Yes,
want
Prabhuji. Yes,
We are waiting
Prabhuji.
for what is the next Thursday. We are waiting. now.
Yeah, you please announce what you are.
So, I mean, I'm open. I'm open. All I need is your commitment, and anything is possible. If you want act of devotion, we can do that. You want act of instruction, we can do that. You want prayers of Queen Kunti, we can do that. You want Chaitanya Charitamrita, we can do that.
I think
You tell me.
Prabhuji, yeah, Prabhuji, since we, high level we graduated right now, right? You connected the sloka. Why not go to the next Chaitanya Charitamrita? Again, it continues there. It's a wonderful story of Lord Chaitanya, and devotees are coming in
It
there.
is.
Right?
It is. But just understand that it's very heavy.
Yeah.
It's very heavy, not easy to understand. And I can't just summarize. So I have to get into detail. Otherwise, it will have no meaning. It also means that again, just between friends, it takes around 6 hours per class of preparation. For Chaitanya Charitamrita, it probably will be 8 hours per class. I'm more than happy to do that because as I'm reading, preparing my notes, I'm learning a lot myself. There are a lot of things, like I've read Bhagavatam, well, twice in detail and once in summary form, but you forget. So a lot of things I'd forgotten kind of became fresh in my mind as I was preparing for these classes. So it's not without benefit for me. And it's not totally unselfish. I mean, I am learning. And so again, I don't mind doing Chaitanya Charitamrita, but just understand it's very heavy. It will require like full focus on your part. So you can't be doing other things when you're in this class. And to be honest with you, I may be even tempted to give you some homework if you're doing Chaitanya Charitamrita. And it may not be practical for many of you because again, you're young, you have family, you have a young family, you have a full-time job. There's so many other obligations. I mean, I'm Nithalla basically. I got nothing else to do. So I just sit here and read and do whatever. So I don't want to put yourself in the same, situation. So if you can't do that, that's perfectly all right. We can do the act of devotion, a lot less heavy, although heavy, not less heavy. And I got no issue with that. I'll still be learning. I can do prayers by Queen Kunti. I can do teachings of Lord Chaitanya. I can do, you tell me. The Prabhupada has opened so many different avenues. So you tell me.
Whatever you like the best, Prabhuji.
Sorry, Prabhu?
Whatever you like the best to go, you please.
No, but once again, I would rather be doing what you want rather than what I want. So I'm not going to say what I want. I'm going to leave this to you. You tell me. All I ask is that if you are asking me to do it, then I'm asking your commitment as well.
Yeah.
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu means Chaitanya Charitamrita?
Yeah.
Okay, so are you willing to do the homework? Because I will give homework. And there will be, somebody will be asked to respond to the homework given. I will be asking questions. If that's what you want, I don't mind doing it, but it needs to be, two-way street. It is heavy. So if you're ready for that, you tell me, we'll do it. If you're not quite ready for that, then let's do something different. And I need everybody to speak up because there are 23 people. There were 26, 3 I guess had enough or whatever. And but there's still 23 people. So once again, if you don't think you want to handle that, that's perfectly all right. Let's do something that's a little easier to handle because I keep saying, you all have your obligations.
At least we can listen. At least we can listen and understand.
No, but Mataji, that's my point. I can't do Chaitanya Charitamrita that way. Because unless you do some homework, unless you do some answers, you will not understand. I don't understand. So then we have to do something a little less heavy.
Prabhuji, can I say something?
You sure can.
Prabhuji, अगर Chaitanya Charitamrita karna hai, and as you are saying that it would take you 8 hours, which I understand is a lot because you have more commitments as well during the week, or bhi aapki classes hai. So can we do this? Can we first reduce the duration from 1.5 hours to 1 hour? And then the way you're saying कि हमारे को आप prepare करने को बोलेंगे, so can we not read it together, because चैतन्य चरितामृत में ऐसे भी verses हैं जिनमें it's pure translation, right? So can we just read it together, and जहाँ पे it is जहाँ पे explain करने का है, there you can explain us in a better way. This way we can read also and we can understand also.
Okay, so basically you're saying we read, we ask questions, we answer them, and we go on. That's what you're saying.
Yes, Prabhuji. Just a suggestion, because मैं इसका सोच नहीं पा रही हूँ plus minus, so it is just a suggestion.
Sure. What do other people think?
हरे कृष्णा पिताजी, मेरा एक छोटा सा क्वेश्चन भागवतम से रिलेटेड है.
हाँ बोलो.
Can I ask कि what is the difference between love and respect? Because I can tell whether I love Bhagwan and respect. I don't know.
Sure.
You know, say,
Sure. So I'll give an example. I really respect Mr. Modi, but I don't love him. Right? I don't love him. But I respect him a lot, and I'm glad he's the Prime Minister, and I hope he's there for the next 20 years as the Prime Minister of India. So I respect him that much, but there's no love, right? And it's hard to think of a person you love but not respect, but respect of different kinds. So, for example, my children, I love them, and I respect them in a way just different from the way I respected my mother or my father, right? So respect's in different flavors, but love and respect don't necessarily go together. They can, but they don't have to. But you cannot talk about love without talking about lust. Remember, love is reserved for Krishna. For everybody else in the material world, it's just lust. And lust is not just, I'm not talking about sex. I'm just talking about lust meaning desire for my satisfaction is defined as lust.
Okay.
In the material world, it's lust. I get something from you, I need something from you, and therefore I lust you. It's just that we don't say it because it sounds dirty. So we say, I love you, but we mean lust. Love means we do it exclusively for somebody else's pleasure. That just doesn't happen in the material world. Not permanent basis anyway.
Okay.
So I hope I answered your question.
Yes, thank you so much. I don't know, काफी long time हो गया minus plus में था, but thank you so much.
Sure.
Thank you so much, Pidaji. Yes.
The other thing I can think of is that if you want to think about this, and you can write me an email, whomever wants to attend the ongoing sessions, that way there's no pressure. There's no pressure that way, and send me a note saying this is what you would like to do. And that way I will stop bothering anybody else who doesn't write back. And you have some time to take 2-3 days to think about this without any pressure and make your suggestions. Like, I'm open, whatever you want.
And Prabhu, maybe we can write our suggestions, maybe right now it's not coming, and then you can just read them.
Yeah, that's right.
Prabhuji, one thing is for sure, you have to start something, whether it is difficult or it is easy.
Sorry, Mata, you have to
start something.
I have to start something. Okay, yes, of course.
Something.
Sure, I appreciate that. Thank you.
But Pidaji, what's your thinking? Which one is best for everybody? Just you tell me.
So, Mata, that's what I'm saying. It depends upon the commitment. It depends upon your other obligations. It depends upon, like, I don't want to.
Prabhuji, I have one thing in my mind. Like, if you said Charita
Chaitanya Charitamrita.
Chaitanya
It is hard or it will take time or so much commitment. Why not to start the Bhagavatam again and you can question answer there and can give homework there. So we will understand it more and more and will develop love for Krishna.
Well, so again,
this is my suggestion. I don't know.
Sure. That's another idea.
Again, give the
रामायण पढ़
homework,
सकते हो
give everything for this Bhagavatam. It's from the beginning to the end.
रामायण भी तो पढ़ सकते हो
Yeah, it is up to Prabhuji.
Ramayana you can read, but again, I am not very conversant with all the points. Like I've read Ramayana, but not scrutinizingly, just like, Ram Leela. So I've read it. But again, it's also in Hindi, so or Sanskrit. Oh no, sorry, this is English version now. Yes.
Or Prabhuji, or Gita you can do. We can start Gita again and you can question answers there. You can give the
yeah I
homework there.
like Gita too
Good idea, Prabhu. Good idea. Very good idea.
Prabhuji, but if we are doing Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam, then I was just suggestion came to my mind that we can also, then you can ask us to read the verses that we will also get used to reading the like the language will also become, you can correct us at the same time.
So I can tell you that I used to do Bhagavad Gita, where I would actually give 10 questions per chapter. Oh, she forgot. Yeah.
Okay.
So I was saying that I used to do Bhagavad Gita classes, where I would give homework to answer 10 questions for every chapter. And so when the class started, I spoke little, but other participants answered the questions and I would add to their answer. So again, some people liked it, some people don't like that. So I'm just trying to do what you would like. Otherwise I can just...
Prabhuji, may I speak something?
You can always speak something.
Prabhuji, we can start Thursday classes like Wednesday classes, likewise, as we are doing in Wednesday classes. That's what we can do.
What is that?
For Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita, whatever.
So what we do in Wednesday classes is that these days we're taking prayers from Shrimad Bhagavatam by different devotees, and we read them one verse at a time, but we get a lot of details. So for example, sometimes it takes 1 hour just to finish one verse. So it gets into a lot of details and everybody has their thoughts, their understandings, their realizations, and they all share because very informal. And but it's great. However, it works, I think, because everybody knows each other very well in that group.
Yeah.
And in this group, most of us have not met each other.
Yes.
Right. So again, there may be an issue. But once again, I'm totally open. You tell me what you want. There's still some people who have not spoken anything. So I'm waiting for them to make some suggestions, so at least I have an idea of the range of suggestions. Otherwise, I don't know what people who are not speaking thinking.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna,
So
Prabhu.
for my, it will be good, like either nectar of devotion or teaching of Lord Chaitanya. Yeah.
Okay, all right. So I mean, I've heard few people say nectar of devotion. But again, anybody else has any thoughts? Anybody who's not spoken yet?
We can continue that way also, like NOD, NOI, and continue.
Okay. All right. So basically, in the interest of time, it's 9:30 already. So what I've heard so far is a few people want nectar of devotion. I think some people would want Chaitanya Charitamrita, but not sure they want to commit to homework and the hard work. And some people would want teachings of Lord Chaitanya. Some people want Gita. with questions, but not sure if they want to read the homework to come prepared. So if there are any other suggestions, if I missed something that you said, tell me now.
Nectar version, okay, Prabhuji.
Okay. So
Prabhuji, but I'm sorry. Can we do it like 8 to 9 instead of 9:30?
First of all, topic should be discussed.
yeah, let's agree on. I mean, if hour and a half is too long, that's fine. That's a good feedback.
No, sir. No, Prabhuji. Sorry. I said no, sir, because ऐसा मेरे को feeling ऐसे आ रही है जैसे we are discussing something at office. So I was saying, Prabhuji, 1.5 hour is not so long, but if we are choosing something where we have to prepare, so मैं अपना personally सोच के बोल रही हूँ कि that if it's an hour long, I am ready to commit to prepare as well.
So sorry, I did not mean that somebody will have to speak for 1 hour. I did not mean that.
No, Prabhuji, about the preparation. So you'll give us, maybe you'll give us 10 questions, 15 questions or whatever. I'm saying if it's little shorter, I am ready to commit to prepare and come for an hour's class.
Okay, so I'm just trying to understand. So the 1 hour reduction by half an hour is because it will be less work for people. Is that what you mean?
For me, Prabhuji, personally.
Oh well, it's for you, for everybody. So okay, all right, I got it.
What I think, whatever should be done, it must consist of some homework, That is what I think, because if from the beginning you remember, like this was almost, I think, more than 10 years ago when we start Bhagavad Gita, it was always, we used to get homework, we memorize one shloka of Bhagavad Gita, or it should have been consist of some homework, that will make the people like a little busy during their week and keep them little in contact with Krishna consciousness or with our scriptures,
Yeah. So again, I mean, if people don't mind, like we can make it less homework, so you don't have to work 4 hours, 5 hours in the week, maybe 1 hour in the week before the class. It's I mean, the more you do, the more helpful it is. So anyway, so
it will keep our mind little engaged too in that. That will keep on reminding us of our class and keep us little bit busy by reading the scriptures and whatever we go to start,
Yeah, no, I understand. So okay, so I think we have had enough discussion on this now. Here's what we will do. Allow me to think about this a little bit more. I will send you an email to what I'm thinking about doing. And I would like an email back from you if you feel you want to participate. Because I don't want to send emails to people who have given up for whatever reason. I don't like to, crowd people's email inbox if it's not necessary. So I'll stop sending to people who don't wish to continue. I'm just perfectly all right. A whole bunch of reasons why somebody doesn't want to or cannot.
We would like to continue, Prabhuji, whatever will be started,
No, I appreciate that, but that may not be applicable to everyone. So that's what I'm saying, that people who wish to continue, they can send me an email in response to my email about what I think we'll do. And I think I've got a general idea of where most people want to go. And so we will do that. Again, I repeat myself, I still wish there were a few people who are still here and not saying anything. I wish they had spoken up, but that's fine. My interpretation is that they will take anything or they won't take anything. Either way, it's their choice. So I can't say anymore. And let's see what happens. So
whatever you start is most welcome, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. I appreciate that. So please wait for my email. You should get it in the next couple of days.
Anxiously waiting.
Thank you. Thank you.
Prabhuji, I want to say one last thing.
Uh-huh.
So we promise to do our best and you will have to take care of the rest.
That sounds very familiar. Thank you.
Yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Krishna Prabhu.
Yes. So I was just thinking that Prabhupada mentioned that all devotees should be first familiar with 4 basic books, right? Which are Bhagavad Gita, Isopanishad, nectar of devotion and nectar of instruction. In that sequence, nectar of devotion, like that's my personal preference. And then we should go on higher books, higher like post-graduation, like Chaitanya Charitamrita. Or
Sure.
but
Sure.
I will go with anything which you decide, but that's what I
Sure,
feel.
Prabhu, I appreciate that. I think most people, no, not most, but more people have said nectar of devotion than any other choice. So I'm probably going to lean that way as well.
Yeah, Prabhuji, I'm also happy with, I would like to go with the nectar of.
So this is finalized, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So okay, fine. Then let's just finalize right now. Let's do nectar of devotion. But again, there will be some expectation of reading, not homework that you have to answer questions. There is some expectation of that you do some reading before you come to the class.
Okay.
And because it's the kind of book where it's hard to understand if you have no background. So you need to know what the book is saying, really, what the context is. Again, it's an amazing book, but still on the heavy side.
Yeah.
And I really think that every one of us, everybody who wants to be a devotee, should have a good understanding of nectar of devotion. It's our rule book. It's our process book. So it's hard to become a devotee if you don't understand nectar of devotion. And so yeah, I'm fine. Let's go with that. I'd still like anyone who wishes to be part of it, please send me an email so that I don't bother you with emails you don't want to see.
Oh, Prabhuji, nobody knows.
No, I mean, let's face it, there are a lot of people who stopped coming for whatever reason. There was a time when we had 75 plus people in this group. It went down to about 30, 35 on average, which is fine. It's not a complaint. I'm just saying that people have their life. They have their constraints, they have their requirements, they have their needs, they have their schedules, and we have to respect that. And that's perfectly all right. But all I'm saying is that I would rather be writing only to those people who wish to attend, rather than everyone. And basically they look at this and they probably swear in their mind, and why is this guy bothering me again and again and again? I would rather not do that, right? Just send to the people who want. So unless I hear back from you, I will not be sending you an email.
हमें email भेज देना.
हाँ माताजी बिल्कुल भेज देंगे आपको नाम वैसे ही लिख लेंगे. Don't worry about it. Yeah.
Prabhuji, do we have to reply all or reply you only?
Oh, it doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. It's up to you.
Okay.
It's up to you. Reply all. Why not?
Yeah.
Because sometimes people get inspired by other people joining. So somebody says, oh, Sonam is joining. Okay, then I'm going to join as well. So sometimes that's helpful.
But how about Prabhu, if I come to know if Sonam is joining, I'm not joining then.
I'll let you to figure that out.
Prabhuji, there are high chances.
I don't know about that.
If Sonam is joining, I'm not joining.
So
okay, all right.
So Prabhuji, what is final now?
Final is we're going to do nectar of devotion.
Yeah.
I'll send a note out to everybody saying we are doing this, and I'll put the expectation that you will read whatever section we're going to cover in the next class.
Okay.
And then whoever responds will be on a new distribution list.
Yeah.
If they don't respond, then that's it. Then my understanding is that they don't want to continue.
Prabhuji, will you tell us later about the format? I mean, so you'll tell us the chapter that we are reading. So
we'll start right from the top. We'll start from the top.
Yeah.
From the very beginning.
We'll read and we'll come with our questions, or you will ask us questions, or you will give us questions in advance. How will we do it?
Yeah. So again, I'm saying that we'll probably not do questions because I think there was a not great enthusiasm for doing questions. So again, I want to do what you want to do. It's like I'm looking at this as my service. Service means do what pleases the masters. So that's what I want to do. Whatever pleases you people, that's what I want to do. And that's the feeling I'm getting, is that reading is okay, but let's not go beyond that. So we will leave it at that. And then
Thank you so much. God bless you.
thank you, Mataji.
Prabhuji, you remembered in Wednesday class last year, you used to give us questions in advance. Are we doing it that way or not?
No, I'm not giving
Not that
questions.
way.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
I'm not giving questions.
Okay.
But expectation is I'll tell you in every class what's the next reading assignment.
Okay. And then you will randomly ask us questions.
Well, either that or just at least you'll have better understanding of whatever I'm talking about. Also, if you've read it, you'll be able to correct me when I make a mistake or catch me, when I say something wrong.
Correcting you,
Which is impossible, Prabhuji.
No,
Which is
it's very
impossible.
possible.
Oh my goodness.
There's still so much I have to learn. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Thank
Waiting
you,
for
all
your
of
email.
you,
Hare Krishna.
especially to those people who
Hare
came
Krishna ji, Hare Krishna
on
ji.
my specific request.
Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Prabhuji.
Hare
Thank you
Krishna.
so much.
Pranam,
Thank you all.
Prabhuji, sorry. Thank you so much for everything.
Oh, you're very welcome, Shirana Mataji. So nice to see you again.
Yeah, sure, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. And Sushma Mataji, same way. I haven't seen you in a long time, but thank you so much for listening to my request to attend. And Gautam Prabhu, I haven't seen you in a while, but I see the name, but no picture in it.
Yeah, it's just my son is always there with me at this time, and
Oh yes,
just
I understand.
keeps disturbing the videos and everything. So
I understand. No, that's fine. I understand that. That's why I say everybody has a different situation. That's why I don't want to force my ideas. Like you have to suit your needs and your situation and respond accordingly, and we should adjust. So as much as possible, accommodate everybody's needs. Okay. All right. Thank you again, everyone.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you.
Thank you again.
We'll see you one way or the other next week.
Same day, same time.
Same time. Yeah, we'll start same time, and then we'll see whether we want to go 1 hour or hour and a half.
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
all the devotees.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Nandimukhi. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna,
Hare
everyone.
Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna Prabhuji.
Yeah. Mancha kalpatarushka pasandevyos patitana bhavnebhyo vaishnavibhyo namo namah.